this is a geological compass. It has some features in common with a regular compass in that it has an arrow that points to north, and that's that red arrow there. So the red arrow points to north and the white arrow points to south. Sometimes the white arrow is black, but the red one's always red. So wherever I move it, it's just going to point to north. Another feature of this compass is this spirit level here. So when the compass is horizontal, the bubble goes into the circle, and we use that to measure strike. Another feature of this compass is this twisty part here. And we move that around when we're measuring the strike. You can see it has numbers all around the outside, and that's where we read off the strike. There's a notch at the top and a notch at the bottom, and we refer to those during this video when we're reading off the strike. To measure dip, we need to move the compass so that east and west are at the top and bottom of the compass, so lined up with those notches there. If we have a look at the other side of the compass, you can see that we have these painted on numbers here, and that's what we use to measure dip. So when I twist the compass, those move around. We also have these painted on arrows here. So we've got a red painted arrow and a black painted arrow. So we use those to measure strike. And finally, we have a black arrow that's within the compass here. And all that does is hang down. So it just points down toward the ground, and we use that to measure the dip. Good morning and welcome to the Monash University Earth Sciences Garden. My name is Dr Finch, and today I'm going to show you how to measure strike and dip using a geological compass. So the first thing that you need to do when you want to measure the strike and dip of a bed is identify where bedding is. So to identify bedding, you need to look at the rock and look for a compositional difference. So here we can see these lines in the rock, and we've got a dark coloured band and then a lighter coloured band. We also have a grain size difference, so I can identify that there is bedding. We can also identify foliations in this rock, and we have a foliation that is parallel to bedding. So that's what we're going to measure today. So this is the bedding surface. We're going to look for a nice flat plane to measure my strike and dip on, because we don't want undulations in the bedding surface when we're measuring strike and dip. So I'll just walk around here. So here we have a nice flat plane that we're going to measure our strike and dip on. So we're going to start with strike, and when you're measuring strike, you need to get the long edge of the compass and you put that up against the rock. You move the compass around until there's a spirit level here, and it shows a bubble and a circle. So once the bubble goes into the circle, that means that your compass is flat, is horizontal, so that you have the line of strike. So that there will be my line of strike. Then I need to move the compass, so turn the dial within the compass until the magnetic arrows on top inside the painted arrows that sit underneath, that are painted onto the compass there. So then I double check again that the bubble is in the circle, and then I can take the compass off the rock and I can read off my strike. To read the strike, you look at the notches at the top and the bottom of the compass. So you can read it up here or down there, it doesn't matter. So I would say for this maybe 43 degrees. So that means my strike is 43 degrees from north. So I'm striking roughly northeast. Okay, to measure dip, you need to turn the compass so that east and west are at the top and bottom notches of the compass. And what that does is put all of the numbers into one half of the compass. And then you need to put the long edge of the compass up against the rock again. So we measured strike like this. We need to measure dip perpendicular to that. So we're putting the long edge up again, but it's perpendicular to the line of strike. So what you need to do to measure the amount of dip is look at the black arrowhead that just hangs down. So that's all it does, sort of hang down. So when we have it on the rock to measure the dip, it'll point to the angle that the bed is dipping from the horizontal. So this is saying about 62 degrees. So 62 degrees is my dip. And then the final piece of information we need to know is whether this rock is dipping towards the north, south, east or west. Now if I look at my compass, the red magnetic arrow points towards north. So I know that north is that way, east is that way, south is that way, west is that way. This rock dips in that direction, so it's dipping roughly southeast. So that's the final piece of information that you need to know. The way you would write that would be strike as a 3-digit number, then a backslash, then the dip, then SE for southeast. And that's it.